Hello, apparently we started. Alright, third time's the charm. I've got microphone working, I've checked my levels, I've got it turned on, all the good stuff. Welcome, we're gonna have a great time. Like we were having before I realized that I've done it all wrong again. But that's okay. It's a learning experience. All of life it's a process. You're gonna be learning till the day you die. And that's what life is all about. So thank you for joining me. And today we're going to be doing some mixing and mastering because it's mixing and mastering Mondays. I'm going to be working on a beat that we created live on Twitch yesterday. I finished it up a little bit. Excuse me. Um, and it's pretty complete. I think we're just going to play through it, and then I'm going to go through and just adjust what I want to fix about it. Oh my goodness! And now I've got my stream playing in the background on my phone. We'll get there. Um, anyway, I'm Jeff Blinks. I'm founder of Tonepath. We are a small music venture right now. We'll get there, and we want to provide, and we do provide a few music resources now, but we're continuing to grow and build, and we want to provide music resources for all types of musicians out there, new ones, veterans. We want to be doing things like sample packs and tutorials, and I'm starting to write a curriculum, and we're going to start making contact instruments for you, and it's all going to be available for free, all royalty free, all that good stuff, because the whole point of music is to share and create and help others create and build, just build all together, because it's about being human. So that's what we hope to do here at Tonepath. We is in me and my roommate so far, but we'll build. We're gonna keep building. Make sure that people out there are getting stuff they need to help them be creative. And with that, let's get to it. Let's pull up the beat, run it back real quick, and see what we want to change about it. How did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get here? I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Well, I don't want that echo there, but I think it only happened because I hit stop. Yeah, okay. So it sounds pretty good, but I think I've actually hidden a lot of stuff by having some of this mastering chain going and having everything sending to reverb already. And it's all about mixing and mastering today. So what I want to do is I want to try to I'm going to put a lot of my instruments and things back to a more neutral state, and it's actually going to make it sound a bit of a lower quality. And then the trick is to try to make the small adjustments to take it when it sounds the worst to make it sound passable. And then once we start doing the mastering process and more adding more of the things like compressors and EQs, we're going to have better source material that we're working with. And kind of what I mean by that, obviously, like, don't make it sound bad on purpose. But things like reverb and delay can make stuff sound a lot better than the source material actually is. So you can see on a lot of these tracks, I've turned, for example, I have my bass setting 100% to reverb. It says 0. That means we've brought the level from negative infinity decibels up to 0. Which, as you probably know, is, as hopefully you know, and if not, don't go above 0 decibels on these meters, because that's when you start destroying the sound signal. So let's go ahead and get everything back to negative infinity. And that's not actually automated, so we'll delete that. And it's just on my sends. Those are the cheater. That's my reverb and delay. Kind of cheater things to make something that's a little bit sloppy sound a little bit better, a little bit cooler. So I might want to also turn off things like EQ. Let's hear the difference between it with the EQ on and the EQ off. Okay, so that is a bit heavy in the mid-range, but that's something that I'll address again later. For now, I'm happy deleting that. It's nothing I can't do again. It's nothing I can't hear again. Don't be worried about starting things over. It's a lot quicker than trying to fix something that's just impossibly broken. I might not even need this compressor. I don't know. I put it on a long time ago, and I can't remember what I was doing with it other than I was hopefully I was thinking smart about it, but I might not have been. I think it sounds better without the compressor. It just needs more volume. I used the compressor to compensate for volume in the past, which was not exactly the right idea. You usually want your compressors to not you don't use it to make something louder, but to make it sound more full is usually what you're going for. Well, maybe not usually usually might be the wrong word, but often what you're going for. I'm just going to delete the compressor for now. If I need it again, I still have it. It's going to be okay. We're going to make it day by day. And it looks like I've got another compressor on this audio loop that I've imported, and the audio loop, I can tell by looking at it, looks like it's already been compressed and made to sound nice. What does it sound like without my help? I hope you guys can see this utility. Let me check real quick. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I don't know what I've done here. And I can't really hear a difference. It does sound a little bit more finished with this on. But we'll go ahead and get rid of it because we can add a compressor again. You can always do these things again. Don't think that you've made something so perfect you'll never ever achieve that level again. Because we're all learning, and learning is a lifetime process. And as long as you, as long as you keep an honest, I wanna go home. As long as you keep an honest mind on learning and progressing, you're always gonna have your next level ahead of you. What do we got going on over here, Mr. Organ? All right, so this delay I've used here, I haven't used it as so much as I want it always going to be part of the sound, but you can see I had it on for a specific compositional effect. I wanted those echoes as part of the response to the instrument, and you see there's a filter on it which changes the sound, so it's more of an effect than it is a finishing type of processing. You can see I have it off most of the time. So I'm not going to do anything with that delay. I'm going to leave that. I don't want to lose that automation. It is pretty simple, but I don't want to have to make it again because I'm going to have the exact same thing. I'll leave the compressor there, and if I need to change it, I'll change that compressor instead of making a new one. What does this compressor do? I honestly can't hear a difference. I think it actually sounds a little bit more open without the compressor. It's a pretty pure sound, and sound like there's a lot of sine wave action in there. Sine waves are already a pretty full sounding thing, to my ear at least. This is a gain knob probably to stop it from blowing our eardrums out. We've got a little bit of staging on our volume during the intro, so I'm going to leave that one too. And it looks like I've put a lot of duct tape on this sound because this isn't exactly an EQ curve that I frequently use in music that I've finished. But I do lots of weird stuff while I'm creating to keep my process flowing. So while I'm making all this stuff, if I'm like, oh, I need that more full sounding, but I don't have time to mix it, I want to keep going, I'll do some stuff like this just to make it work so I can keep being creative. And that's fine because I am willing to go back and make it even better. Because we can always keep polishing stuff. There is a point where you got to call it quits and say, I'm done. At this point, I've got diminishing returns. I'll cap it, ship it off to the stars, let the world hear it, and let it be what it is. But for now, I'm just going to hit delete. This auto pan, I remember I was working with that. It was not making me a happy camper. I don't even know why I left it. Let's hear what we got now. If you're listening with excuse me, if you're listening with headphones, you might have heard there's some resonance in the mid frequencies. And I don't really know how to explain what resonance is, other than it's like the sounds that are kind of like cutting a hole through your eardrum a little bit and like really like trying to get in there. And that's why I had that EQ there, was to just obliterate those frequencies where there was resonance. And probably somebody else is better telling you about resonance. Try Wikipedia. They're usually good about lots of this music stuff. So before I keep going through the instruments and making neutral stuff, I wanna try to address this resonance real quick. So I said it's in the mid range. I think that's where it is. We actually have a scientific way we can try to find it. We can use our spectrum analyzer. So I think it's these peaks that are getting way higher right in here that are the ones I'm hearing. Yeah, so right in here is the area that I'm not liking. right in that 800 to, I don't know, 1.1 kilohertz range. And also, I know that around that area is important for vocals. So we don't want vocals competing with this organ that's already kind of piercing our eardrums. So that's that's definitely why I had the EQ there, but I think there's a better way to fix it by if we actually take a look at our instrument, see what we got going on. See, we've got two organs. I don't know what that's all about. Let's find out. What does this one sound like? What does this one sound like? So that one's just an octave lower. I didn't even know I had an octave lower in there. I couldn't hear it. I don't want that competing with the bass line that I have going on. So I'm just going to delete that lead organ. This was just a preset that I loaded in. So I didn't actually look at it. I load in presets that are kind of the sound that I'm looking for. And you can always turn your presets into any sound you want. They're just good starting points. They're not meant to be finished products most of the time. They're good starting points. Hey, this is a good spot to take it a bunch of different directions wherever you want, rather than you gotta start from scratch again. I do like that a lot better, but I'm hearing some noise in there that I don't want. Oh, look at that. The noise button's turned on. Well, I think it probably adds a little bit to the analog sound of it having that noise. That emulates how vacuum tubes aren't perfectly sealed things from back when we made music and synthesizers by shooting electricity through tubes to I don't know how it works. But now we do everything digitally pretty much. And this is an analog emulator. It's not truly anything analog about it. It's still going through your computer. Everything's digital. And even if you have an external analog instrument, once it goes into your computer, it is digital. Sorry, that sounded kind of loaded. I kind of sounded rude on that. I'm sorry about that one. I do like a little bit of that noise. I think it makes it feel a little bit more organic, I think. I kind of like that wobble detuning it gives it. And that also helps, it seems like that helps mitigate the resonance of it a little bit. I definitely like the vibrato more subtle. And now look at all these things that they've oh, look what we have here. In all the effects they've so kindly given to us, they've given us a filter that happens to give us a resonance boost right in the area where we were having a resonance problem. Delete it. Reverb can also cause a lot of resonance issues because you're getting the frequency that might cause a problem, and then we simulate that frequency bouncing back and forth off walls and all building in constructive interference with each other. Constructive interference, by the way, is when you have two sound waves, and sound waves, generally we represent them with this, a curve, a curved line or a jagged line or whatever. And if you have two different ones and they're, going at the same spot, our overall wave then is them adding together. So when we have reverb, stuff bouncing off the walls together, those sound waves can line up, or they can conflict. But often it's hard for them to conflict exactly oppositely of each other to cause a problem like that. It does happen. It's called phasing. It's called, if you ever hear someone say they have some phasing issues. But more likely they add up, usually is what happens. Or at least that is the perception of the ear, I should say. And maybe I should even say the perception of my ear. So I think on that line, I want that wobble in it that's caused by the detuned unison. I want that to decrease as we get towards the end of that, because it does get kind of annoying. And I do kind of like that airplane noise in the background. I might get rid of it later, though, because although it does add to the sound, it might, by the end of everything, just contribute to some muddiness in the low end, because if you saw back here, it's noise with coloration at 55 hertz, which is pretty low. And I know my sub and my bass line, they're definitely in that range. And I don't want them having to compete with anything. I want them to be shining. What I did there was, instead of using the fader over here to adjust the volume, I just did that volume adjustment here with a clean utility. Easy peasy. I'm actually pretty happy with this sound. I know it's not great by itself, but I'm just using it to color the organ sound. I think that's a better frequency for that filter. I'm going to add some LFO to it just to create variation as it goes, so it's not exactly the same every time. Now let's take a look at our sub and our bass. This is a very important one, and it's so hard to get right all the time. Because what I had done earlier, I had this set all the way up to 0. And that was, I was cheating, and I was using the reverb to create the fullness of the bass sound. I mean, it's not cheating. If it works, right? When we're just trying to create something that sounds good. But I think by the end, it could become a thing that's more problematic to try to get to sound right during the mastering process and finishing up the mixing. Oops. So that's not a very realistic sounding thing. It works in the context of the song, but I'd like it to sound a little bit more authentic before we start letting it, you know, try to be the base of the whole song. And that was based with an SE at the end. So let's see what we can do about that. Oh, yeah. Alright, so I've just got the whole track, I think, an octave higher than I actually want it, because I didn't actually get the sound filled out how I want. So instead of going through all of that and making everything an octave lower on each one of these clips individually, I'm going to go over to my MIDI effects, grab my pitch tool, and look at that, I already got a -12 ready for me. Now everything that comes in it is going to be sent down an octave before the operator plays it. I think I need one more note there. It just sounds too unfinished without that. I know I think I put a drop there though, that's why I didn't want it, but I think it'll be okay. Let's hear the whole thing. Okay. I've got an idea that I want to save for later. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I want to take this sound and get an audio sample of it so that I can play with it a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resample this track by, I've made a new audio track here, and for the input I'm going to choose the sub bass. I'm going to arm it. I'm just going to and that's it. That's all I wanted. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, because I don't want the instrument to have to actually try to generate a new pitch every time. I want the pitch to be ready to go and ready to rock and roll for when I do. I don't know why I love doing this so much, but I always have so much fun for some reason. How did we get here? How did we get here? Actually, I think I want all these down a half step. Or Ableton and all these DAWs, digital audio workstations, they're called steps because that makes sense. All the keys are, as far as I can tell, one thing away from each other, so we'll call it one step. In the classical tradition, however, they call a step, two piano keys away from each other, kind count up 2 keys, count down 2 keys. That's one step, one whole step they call it. And then a half step is keys that are directly next to each other. And that's if you're counting all the black keys too. You know, you gotta each single key, the very next one, not the next white key if there's a black one in between them. How did we get here? How did we get here? I think this whole thing, I think I actually wanted these twice as fast. I want them here. Did we get here? Ooh, yeah. And so you see, there's still some composing that I have go on in my mixing and mastering process, because I think it's impossible really to separate it into all these different chunks of, oh, I'm going to do this and then it's done and I don't need to do that anymore. No, keep refining everything. Keep refining. Keep striving for perfection. You'll never get there, and that's okay. Learning how to be okay with it is a different thing completely, but keep striving for it, because that's how you get better. If you stay satisfied with your work, you never have to get better to feel satisfied, so you'll never get better, and then you'll never truly create things that are at the limit of your ability and at the actual potential that you can reach, unless you keep striving. And I want to get better. That's why I do these Twitch streams. It forces me to think more focused, to address issues that sometimes I want to ignore, because I can't let you guys think, and it's okay, because it's not to ignore things that I should be getting better at. I should be working on them. How did we get here? I don't need that bell track. Not there. Let's get back to our bass, though. I'm not sure it's exactly where I want it. I think this attack time's a little too long. See, I forgot to adjust both of these envelopes. And see, I have this noise here. I have this noise layer, and that kind of makes a little bit of a click or a pop at the beginning of the note that helps define it, because the square wave and the sine wave that I'm using don't have a very definite beginning that you can hear when they play. So that noise, it works really well for that. Here when I turn it off. And then when I turn it on, it's very subtle, but it's there. How did we get here? So I'm liking that better already. And see, I don't want these attacks to be all the way at 0, because that could create a click versus, you know, like a tasteful pop. It would be a click. It's like, ooh, where'd that come from? And now that I've decreased these sustains on both of these, I may want to increase the volume by however much I like. Actually, you know what? I think that volume issue I'm going to address later with a little bit of compression. Later or right now. Maybe right now. See, now that noise layer is sticking out a little bit too much with compression. But I think it more highlighted the issue than it is making it something it wasn't already. It was already too much, probably.
How did we get here?
Alright, that's cool, but I'm going to take the compressor off for while I'm going through these other things, but I think that's good. Let's listen to what our pluck sounds like, and we're just going to keep rolling. I know I'm going fast. So I have a pluck and a violin section on this one. Was there a wrong note there? No. I think I want all these notes a little bit longer. I don't think I want them longer. Okay, so for this one, I wasn't using the reverb to hide anything. I was actually... I like this use of reverb on this one. This is the same thing I was doing on the bass. I used the reverb to fill out the sound. It's kind of like a... Well, it's exactly what it is. It's a mix between like kind of an electric violinish sound that I got out of using an electric sound and a violin sound. And it sounds so much better than the space lasers.
How did we get here?
Do you want to hear what that audio actually sounds like? That's me singing, by the way. I don't claim to be the greatest singer of all time, but I like to do it because I get better. I get better if I do it more. But let's see what I sound like without any of the effects.
How did we get here?
It's not the worst thing in the world. But let me tell you, I think that's incredible for where my voice used to be. I used to almost not be able to sing different pitches, and as I practiced, you know, and it goes with everything I've done in music. I wasn't born talented at music at all. I started off with almost no rhythm, no sense of pitch. I couldn't keep a beat even, and it made music so fascinating to me. Was that it was one of the few things that like I just couldn't wrap my head around at all, and so I just kept coming back to it. Like how does it work? How does sound work? How does music? Where the notes come from? It's incredible. And it turns out it's all stuff you can learn. There's just a lot of it. Some people are born with tons of natural talent and that they get to build upon, and other people get to find all these creative different ways to learn stuff to compensate for not having the talent like I have. And you get to all the same great musical goals whether you were born with talent or not. There's no matter how talentless you were born at music, you can become the best. And I honestly believe that, and that's why I continue to strive even though I'm not a great singer. I'm not the world's best producer. I still have trouble with rhythm. I've been a musician for 18 years, and I used to be a lot better when I was in college for it and all that studying. I studied classical composition and all that, and I was playing saxophone, 4 or 5 hours a day. I was much better at it, but I've lost some of those skills because I do all this electronic stuff now, and it's a lot more fun and satisfying for me. And I get to share it with people like you instead of being stuck in a conservatory writing on my scores and my manuscripts. But let's turn those effects back on.
How did we get here?
And what do we have here? Alright, so this one, there's a lot going on here. I know that I already want this exactly how it is. I worked on this for a while. because none of the stuff that I've done to this is to make so much to make it balance within the mix as it is to make the sound the source that I want the sound to be. But I want to turn it off and show you that you don't even need drum samples or anything. What I did was I said boots and cats. Because I don't know how to beatbox, and it doesn't matter that I don't know how to beatbox because I'm still allowed to, and I'm still allowed to try. And I remember one time learning from a friend, and he's like, "Oh, I learned how to beatbox. You know, you just gotta say boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats." So I put it in here. Let's hear what it sounds like. Oh, and I've shifted the pitch quite a bit. Boots and cats and boots. And I only did it well one time, and I just copied and pasted it. You're allowed to do that. Whatever makes the music good, just do it. You don't have to go ask, "Oh, is this the right way to do it? Is that the right way to do it?" Do what you think sounds good, and when you can't figure out how to make it sound even better, ask a question. Say, "Hey, what would you do differently? Where else could I go with this?" And then you'll get much more meaningful input than if you're fearful of being creative. It's called playing music because it's supposed to be like we're playing a game, like we're in a playground, because that's what we are, especially with Ableton and all these digital audio workstations. Are you kidding me? It's limitless what you can do. If you have a laptop and Ableton Lite, you have what it takes to make Grammy award-winning records. So don't feel like there's anything stopping you besides just trying to learn. So that's boots and cats, and then you put some effects on it, and you have pretty much the same thing still. But I forgot to shift it down the 20 steps. Ooh, I didn't try doing this before. I kind of like this. Play around with your different warp modes. You never know what you're gonna get. I think I like this better than what I had. This is more what I was going for, I think.
How did we get here?
And now something that I want to do. Oh my goodness, I feel like I just got louder. It's probably because I turned up the volume on my headphones. Is I want to come to my master chain. And right now, all I have on it is a limiter just so I don't blow anything out. And some gain just to make it louder. I want to mix the whole thing down to mono. Because that tends to show you a lot of issues in your music. Anything that sticks out in mono is going to be a problem even when you move to stereo. Stereo kind of hides it. So that's, again, what I was saying about try to bring it to a neutral state where it sounds as bad as it's going to sound, and then build it up from there. So I'm going to run the whole thing back a little bit in mono. Actually, I want to start at what I'll call the beefy section. just take it down a little bit, I think. These seem a little out of control.
I wanna go home. Home.
Still coming in a little hot there. See, I have two notes speaking on those, so I gotta take it down.
I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
Ooh, I think I want this whole thing an octave lower here. I'm gonna consolidate it with a Control J. You can highlight everything by clicking, dragging a box over it, and doing Shift down. I apologize for those rumbling noises that are coming from my ceiling. I think it's some doggies upstairs. Ooh, see, now it's too low, and the instrument's kind of frying out at the bottom. I think maybe for these notes, see, it loses some of its fullness when it gets that high. I think I'm gonna, I'm gonna copy and paste them with Control C, then Control V, and then shift that copy down an octave. Make sure we're in a polyphonic way so that both of them can speak. We are not. Now I gotta be careful because I've allowed two voices to speak at the same time. So if there's any spots where the bass is overlapping, it'll become muddy for that overlap. That's gonna be harder to hear, but unless we're careful with our overlaps. Like I have octaves, those go well together. I would say literally 99 trillion times out of 100 trillion. 999, lots of nines out of one more. You know what I'm saying. I really don't know many times octaves sound bad. I think that's what I'm looking for. And I think it's going to sound really great. There it is.
Where do we go?
Might be too much.
Where do we go? Where do we go from here? I don't know. How do
And now what I want to do to make sure that I have room to work with all my instruments, I'm going to drop my default utility, which takes off 9 decibels. As you can see, what I'm dropping onto all of them. I'm doing that because this is a non-destructive effect, so it's not going to ruin any of your signal. It's all stuff you can get back. And I find that it's better to mix by slowly balancing stuff and slowly building it up than to run out of room and try to be like, okay, well, I'm going to bring him down a little bit so I got some room here, and then some, oh, well, I need to move this here. And you get stuck in this tiny little area that doesn't do you much good, whereas you could start low and have all this headroom to build in, and then you can have a lot more dynamic flow and dramatic arc just defined by the volume of the piece if you're not stuck at your maximum capacity from the get-go. And so the way decibels work is, and the way we perceive sound is, even though they might have been at all different levels to begin with, um, we can subtract a straight 9 from all of them, and they will keep their balances with each other, even though the percentages of the numbers in relation to each other might get messed up a little bit. For you math people out there, I think you know what I'm talking about. For you non-math people out there, don't worry about it. If you just take off the same amount of decibels from every track, you're going to be good to go. And here I'm just compensating the volume so that we can still hear it and make sure that it's still coming out of your phone speakers or wherever you're watching, appropriately. So our bass is sounding kind of questionable now that we're in mono and we've taken away all the stuff that helps us. So how are we... That's really what's sticking out to me. So how am I going to fix that? Well, what if I... See, I think there's too much high information. Oh, there we go. I think maybe just taking away some of this resonance. Ooh, a little too much drive now. Maybe I don't even need this anymore. There we go.
I wanna go home. Here. How did we get here?
So I'm thinking, first thing I'm hearing is I want these drums to sound a little bit fuller. I did talk about how it sounds like they might already be compressed. I'm not 100% sure.
Here. How did we get here? How did we get here? I wanna go home.
The next thing I'm hearing is I want to hear some. Let's hear some reverb on this one. I don't know if I want a send reverb or a reverb in the chain because it is a little bit different. One is kind of going to be like laying a nice blanket of reverb on top of something that's still speaking clearly all by itself, and putting reverb in the chain is technically the same thing, really, but it doesn't seem to come out the same. It tends to push the instrument back into the mix. Sound like it's farther back than everything a little bit. Sorry, I thought I heard something back there. I was a little scared. What does it sound like with delay?
I wanna go home.
Okay, I gotta cut some of the highs from the diffusion network. I'm hearing those get resonant. Reverb can create a lot of resonance. Remember, I think we talked about that earlier.
I wanna go home.
So density is going to be what it sounds like. It's really hard to talk about this. I suggest you just go play with the reverb tool to figure out what the things do, and you'll slowly pick it up. Because it's so hard to describe sound with words. But density is more or less the density, you know, how thin or thick the reverb is going to sound. And then scale is going to control whether it's more of a dark sound or more of a bright light sound. And those kind of sound the same because they kind of are, but when you play with it, you'll hear that they're different too. You'll hear that difference. I can't hear a difference with that reflect.
I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
I think we need some more volume on these guys.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go?
And I think I want to add.
Where do we go?
I guess if he's gonna be at 0, I can just delete it.
Where do we go?
Do you see the stuff? You see that? That sound that we're not gonna hear. That's not supposed to. That's not part of the reason why we're using that instrument. Because that's just floor noise that doesn't matter, but it does contribute to the overall volume strength of the signal. So it can stuff we can't hear can prevent us from getting as loud as we want to. So I'm just gonna cut it off with a low cut.
Where do we go from here?
And there's still some left. I've cut it significantly, so I'm not worried about whatever's left. Because this line goes down to infinity. So.
Where do we go from here?
And try to make subtle changes with your EQ. You don't need to do nearly as much as you think.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
Now, this pad does seem like it gets in the way of the vocals a lot. So I'm going to show you real quick a cool trick you can do to sidechain vocals to something to make your instrumental dip in volume whenever the vocalist is doing something, and then when the vocalist is done singing, it comes back up into volume. So overall, you get this nice smooth level of volume, but there's room for the vocalist to sing when he wants to come in. He or she, of course. He or she, or any other pronoun that someone might prefer.
Where do we go from here?
So we're going to take this pad instrument. We're going to throw a compressor on it. And I'm just going to be using the compressor mostly to address volume of the signal, gain of the signal, strength of the signal. So I'm going to put it after my EQ because I know my EQ got me the sound I was looking for already, and I don't want to necessarily change that part of it. I just want to address the volume without having to, automate a gain knob or something like that. I want it to respond naturally to the vocalist. So what I can do is grab my compressor, click this arrow to bring up a new menu, and you have a button that's called sidechain. That's exactly what we're looking for. And then you can take your audio from your vocals. Vox is short for vocals, just so you know.
Where do we go from here?
And now you can see the input. The input is based on the vocals instead of the instrument that I've put the compressor on. So now if I put our threshold down by where our vocals are, we get the gain reduction based on the vocal signal, but the gain reduction is applied to this pad instrument that we are on. So when the vocals are louder, we reduce the signal of the pad. And you can make it really, really exaggerated, or you can make it subtle. And you'll probably want to turn up the ratio to make sure that you have enough reaction. And you want to, mess with the threshold too. Maybe you don't want to turn up the ratio.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
So see that how I set it to be really exaggerated, so when the vocals come in, basically the pad stops playing, but then it fades in 1.54 over the course of 1.54 seconds after the vocals stop playing.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
But I liked it a little bit subtler how I had it before.
Where do we go from here? 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 Where do
Overall, I think the pad's too loud now too.
Where do we go?
Because I did get rid of some of this noise, which may have been stopping it from being its full volume, and then I did add a little bit of gain to the top end overall.
Where do we go from here?
I think our bass is too loud.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
It's juicy though. Let's check out these little guys. You gotta play just a quick little. I just felt like that one spot needed a little bit extra color, so a little extra flavor, so I put that in there. You can't hear it anymore though.
I wanna go home. I wanna go home.
I think to make sure that you realize it was going on, you might not notice it on your first listen, but if we have these, do this a little bit, it'll get your ear listening to it a little bit, and maybe next time you listen to the song, you're gonna be like, oh, I hear that whole line now, cool.
I wanna go home.
Now, I did like that. I don't like how they were quite so incessant. And it's okay if they fade to nothing. That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Wanna go home. Wanna go home.
Let's see if we're still sounding right on our intro. I know I've kind of gone and done this differently than how I explained I was going to do it.
How did we get here?
Alright, so that's... I know it might not be sounding as good as it did when we first started, but it's... Just bear with me. We're going to get there. You're going to see it all come together, and it's going to be wonderful.
Where do we go from here? Oh, we go from here. I don't know.
See what happens when we turn mono off? It's so much better than it was. It's so much better than it was. See, we made it sound good in mono. We worked to make it sound good in mono. When we turned on stereo, it's just out of this world.
How did we get here? How did we get here? I wanna go home. I wanna go home.
That's some hammer action. That's part of the sound of the piano. Is not the actual note, but the sound of this hammer hitting the strings inside of the piano, and it's more of a thud sound. We do want that. It makes the piano sound nice and realistic. I'm trying to find if we have any unnecessary noise in there, though.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Home. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
I think the vocals. Where do we go from here? Vocals I think need a little bit of reverb, and I'm gonna end up adding a little bit of reverb to everything because it helps everything congeal and coagulate together. Those are great words for music, I guess. But just a little bit, almost like it will actually almost not. I keep saying almost, actually, an unnoticeable amount. It just seems to give everything this little bit of warmth that it needs. But first, I want to give the vocals a tasteful amount of reverb to help them, to help me sound like a better singer.
Home, home, home. I wanna go home.
And I think I
Wanna go home.
want a different color of reverb in there too, actually.
I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go
I think this lead organ is a little bit too strong now. Do I want this entire thing an octave higher to actually speak better? I might want that. Oh, I think that's much better.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I wanna go home. I wanna. I wanna go home. 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 Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? I don't know. How did we get here? I don't know. How did we get here? I don't know. I wanna go home. I wanna go home.
So this is a pretty fun tool that I'm using here. It's a dynamic multi-band compressor. It's kind of like an EQ and a compressor wrapped up into one. And what I like about this is I like listening to like different bands of the audio and being able to adjust the settings and hearing only that band of audio and make that one band have the right settings and make the next band have the right settings and the next one, and then all together it sounds great.
I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we wanna go home. I wanna go home. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? I don't know. How did we get here? I don't know. How did we get here? I don't know.
All right, it sounded pretty good now. I'm gonna run it back and listen to it, and we'll see how it sounded. It's mixed well, and we have a little bit of a master chain going. Is how I do it is I'm gonna go and tweak this every single day for like a week and just like add this, add that, add this, take it away, take it all away, undo everything I just did, and eventually I'll probably end up at something resembling what we have today, but slightly better. So let's put it at the start, and I'm gonna go grab myself a quick little bite while this runs. I'm gonna go check it out. Just check it out. Stand up and get my legs moving a little bit. Is really all I'm trying to do. I don't know how to awkwardly say I'm gonna walk and just leave you watching nothing, but you got to follow along on the screen at least. Let me do this for you. Let me. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, not too much.
How did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get here? I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
back. All right, I think. Oh, I didn't stop it. I think it sounded pretty good. That I don't know what I want to do next to it. I'm liking what I have. I want to add lyrics. I gotta write some lyrics, and maybe I'll sing over it. Maybe I'll have Jacobo, my buddy, the other co-founder of Tonepath, vice president actually of our small organization, the two of us in our small humble studio. Oh, he just said yo. I don't know if you could heard him. If you could heard him, I know grammar. Oh, and even my dog is chipping in. But anyway, thank you for watching. Again, I'm Jeff Blinks. This is Mixing and Mastering Mondays. Hey Garbo, my dog's name is Garbo. He shrieks. He's excited. He's excited about this beat too. We all are. So I'm Jeff Blinks, founder of Tonepath. We bring resources to musicians, new, veteran, anyone. It's all free, royalty free. Check out our website, Tonepath.net, and have a great time. Go check out what we have. We don't have a lot yet, but we're going to keep adding. I'm going to start turning these Twitch videos into a little bit more refined tutorial videos once I have some stockpiled stuff that I want to go over, and it's going to be great. I'm going to set you up for success. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to learn by teaching you. You're going to teach me by learning from me, and through all of my failures, your failures, we're going to get better, and we're going to make it day by day, strive for perfection every day. Thank you so much for tuning in.